Got some breaking news moments ago from AT&T Stadium. Ty Zentner setting up for a game-winning 31-yard field goal, and Kansas State has upset number 3 TCU to win the Big 12 championship and also put the first loss of the season on the Horned Frogs of Texas Christian. There is joy in the Little Apple on this night as the Wildcats take down the Horned Frogs. TCU, they've been such a great come-from-behind team all season long. They came from behind in this one to force overtime, but it was the K-State defense that came up huge in a goal line stand on TCU's first offensive drive. Kansas State got the ball, kicked the field goal, and they are your Big 12 champions in 2022. And now we welcome in Chip Patterson joining us now. And yeah, that look on your face, I think, says it all. I'm not sure how many people expected TCU to go down. They went down all season and were able to come back. Chip, what happened on this day to the Horned Frogs?
TCU was not able to get in any kind of offensive rhythm. I mean, this is a quarterback in Max Duggan and an offense that we have gotten so used to seeing them be able to move the ball down the field, hit explosive plays, get all the answers when they needed them. But Russ, everything was difficult today, and that is a credit to the Kansas State defense, because Kansas State was able to be in a position where they kept everything in front of them. They got pressure on Duggan. They blitzed all afternoon, blitzed more than Kansas State had all season. So credit to Kansas State defensively, because they kept one of the most explosive offenses in the entire country in check. It took hero ball from Max Duggan to be able to even get this thing to overtime. And of course, it is that Kansas State defense that shows up. TCU gets 2 cracks at it from inside the 1-yard line, cannot get it in, sets up the Wildcats to be able to kick the game-winning field goal. Now, unbelievable preparation, unbelievable performance. The Wildcats, with this win, get themselves their first outright Big 12 title since 2003, first share of a title since 2012. And while this Kansas State team won't be in the college football playoff, I think the fans in Manhattan will be celebrating this like it is a national championship.
Yeah, now the question becomes, does TCU get into the college football playoff? We saw USC go down in the Pac-12 championship game. We're sure they're out. Caesars took them off the books. What happens to TCU now?
My belief is that TCU will remain in the college football playoff. The Horned Frogs might give up their spot at number 3, but I do not think that they will fall to number 5, with this being just the first loss of the season. And Russ, I do think it's important to also mention the margin. It's also important to mention, the way this game unfolded, because if you're going to lose on a neutral field to another top 10 team, and that is your first loss of the season, then I think it would be irresponsible to the integrity of the playoff to bounce this TCU team in favor of a squad that has 2 losses. And when we look at who else might be in the mix now that we've gotten USC out, then I think that moving Alabama or moving Tennessee or moving another team with 2 losses into that spot ahead of this 1-loss TCU team would be just totally ignoring everything that TCU had done to this point. The 12 wins on the season are 2 more than the Crimson Tide. I think that TCU will remain in the college football playoff. It's just possible that they will now have to face the number 1 team in the country. Ohio State might jump them for number 3, but I do not see TCU falling all the way to number 5.
Now, we just saw the Horned Frogs go down in overtime, their first loss of the season. How do you think they match up against the other teams we expect to be in the playoff? That would be Georgia, Michigan, and now Ohio State.
Well, I do think that Georgia's defense would be able to do a lot of what Kansas State did in terms of applying pressure to Max Duggan and really limiting what TCU's downfield passing attack can be. It takes time for wide receivers to get 30 yards down the field, and Max Duggan did not have time for much of the afternoon. Michigan also has an extremely strong defense and extremely strong pass rush. So what TCU needs to do probably is more schematic than anything else, and trying to put together a game plan that is going to provide more protection, give Max Duggan more time for the downfield passing game to really open up. That was a huge weakness for this Horned Frogs team. Again, incredible heroics from Max Duggan to even get this game to overtime. But that was him with his legs. That was him playing hero ball kind of stuff. In terms of the offense on a down-to-down basis, it was not smooth for TCU, and they are going to have answers if they want to advance just past the semifinals in the college football playoff.
And Chip, I'm sure the rest of the day we're going to be talking a lot about TCU and the college football playoff as we watch the other games unfold later tonight. But I feel like we need to finish this off by talking about Kansas State just a little bit before we go. How does this set the Wildcats up, one, for their bowl game, and two, just going into next season? We're talking about a team that's already in the top 10. Now they beat TCU. How is Kansas State moving forward here, coming off this huge of a win?
This is one of the premier programs in the future Big 12. Texas and Oklahoma are about to leave. We're about to get the arrival of a Cincinnati, a UCF, of a Houston, and of a BYU. There is a total reshuffling in the pecking order of this league, and what Kansas State has done here in this 2022 season is prove that they are a real power to be reckoned with. So as we look to the very top of the conference and we start to think, who should we project are going to be the best teams on a year-in, year-out basis, filling out that order of finish going into media days in July, do not ignore a Kansas State program that took multiple injuries to key starters and contributors even within the context of this game, and the next man up mentality, the culture that Chris Kleiman has been able to maintain from Bill Snyder, the player development that he has been able to maintain. This is one of the healthiest programs in the conference, and this is a real Big 12 power with lasting power as we look into the future of the conference.
Chip Patterson, thank you so very much, and all hail Kansas State, the champions of the Big 12. And for more from Chip, be sure to check out the Cover 3 podcast. You got game picks, breaking news, everything else in the world of college football. It is the Cover 3 podcast, and they've got you covered. Download and subscribe today.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.